Good
Well,
question. So just the voice, right? Not the
it's already recording. I can chop it up. Ready? Here we go. Welcome to, no, it's going to be video too, so smile. Welcome to Hacking the Hustle. This is your host, Benjamin Sklar. Thank you for coming to the show. I'm really excited to have my friend Henry Bao on the podcast. Henry, how do you pronounce your last name?
you got it, Bao. Like the Netflix there was a short film that won the Oscar called Bao. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but it's irrelevant. Let's keep it going.
It's
So Henry, for those listening, Henry is an awesome guy. I met Henry in college in the library, and he's Vietnamese, and he just looked like he was the king of the library. So I had to introduce myself. And today, Henry is based in Vietnam, and he's the CEO and founder of a company called NEXUS Labs, which is a growth marketing firm. He's worked at Tesla, Nextdoor, and he went to Oxford, and he speaks French and Vietnamese, and he's definitely a globetrotter. If you follow him on Instagram, he's in a different part of the world every other picture, and I highly respect Henry. I think he's going to be a huge celebrity in Asia, so I'm really excited to have him on the show to talk about connection and growth marketing and everything else in between. So let's kick it off, Henry. Tell me about your background. I'm really curious about your family, where you grew up. Who are you?
yeah. Yeah, so I'm Vietnamese, but I'm also American, so I'm a dual citizen of both countries. And I actually think of myself as a global citizen, this idea that we all connected, and definitely super lucky to have traveled the world. I've worked for 8 years at technology companies like Tesla, and most recently at a startup that was acquired for $80 million. And so after my education tech company was acquired in 2019, I traveled the world for 4 months. I was in Africa, all over Europe, and then back in Asia. And I've been back in Vietnam for a year now, been involved with a lot of media projects and TV and acting, and I will be in an action movie this year. So it's just super fun to be in media now and becoming a media personality here in Asia. Yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine. So what is it like to become, what is going on in the media landscape in Asia? Educate us,
A
listeners.
lot. A lot. As you know, Asia has got this crazy growth happening. It's super dynamic. Vietnam has done incredibly well with COVID. So we are super lucky to have only, even though we share a border with China, we shut down the country early and lockdowns early. So um, only over 1,000 cases and only 35 deaths. So life pretty much went back to normal. So very grateful. We have big events where I MC here in the past year. And Vietnam is on track to become an Asian dragon in the near future, I'm sure.
Ooh, I like that. Asian Dragon. So what do you mean by
It's got all,
MC talk show host? You're going to be in an action film. Tell us about all of this.
yeah, it's like a general theme throughout my career has been, at Tesla, at Nextdoor, I work in teams that build community. At Tesla, I was part of the ambassador marketing team. So essentially using community as a innovative way to share the Tesla message and get people to go green at a super cool company, right? Nextdoor is the same. Is how can we have neighbors start talking to each other so that good things are happening, and that's also building community on a global scale. And as a TV host and MC, what I do is I uh, connect people on stage. I share stories and connect the audience in front of a camera on TV. And so it's like doing what I've been doing, but in a different angle and on I think, a bigger platform. Yeah.
Fascinating. I
And I
never
just
thought
get
of
so much
MC like
happiness
that.
from it.
Hmm.
And yeah, definitely. Um, and just being a global citizen, having lived in the US and Europe for 16 years, being back home in Asia now, I get to be that person sharing the message and sharing what I've learned overseas back here in Vietnam. And also, Vietnam is joining the world at a really fast pace. So I get to connect Vietnam with the world as well. It's really, really exciting.
That is very exciting. What do you think is your unique ability?
I think we share this. We have this in common, but the ability to connect people, to gather people, to share positivity and and love and joy and connection. Yeah, I feel like I was at Burning Man. I've been going for 5 years, and every year I go, it's just like going home, and like this feeling of oneness just keep growing to me. And I think that's one of my special ability, just connect people and share the positivity.
Do you feel like it's a skill that you're born with, or is it something that you can learn?
Mm, great question. I actually used to be such an introvert in high school, but over time, traveling the world, and every time I moved to a new country, like when I first came to the US many years ago in college, having to immediately navigate a new environment, like having to really open myself up. I was forced to do it, right? Like mostly like I have to do that in class and also to make new friends in a foreign country. And then eventually starting to develop this empathy to just like start to be really curious about people and start to listen. Um, and so I think the curiosity is something that really helped me in my career as well, the empathy. Um, so I think it's something that's both innate, but also things that we have to develop over time as soft skills, right? Things that you develop in the workplace, but also with maturity and life experiences. Yeah.
Do you feel like the people who are hiring you to be an MC or a talk show host or an actor, they also are connectors and have empathy, and they see that
Mm.
in you, and they see themselves in you, and that's why they want to hire you? Or is it because of some
Well,
other reason?
I well, I think so to be an MC, it depends on the show, but having the knowledge helpful, having the right looks is really important because you're in front of TV and you're on national TV. So um, I think in entertainment, just having the looks really helps. Um, yeah, and I
Oh,
think it's
mhm. Tell me about how you're
yeah.
connecting with, if your goal is to become an actor and a celebrity in Vietnam
Mm,
and Asia,
mm.
how can you leverage your skill set of being a to meet with the people to put you in the position where you can grow?
Mm. So actually, I did a lot of acting training in the past year. I think um, acting is such an art, and at first I had no idea what I was getting into. Right, I was taking acting training with this well-known director called Kathy Wing in Vietnam, and um, I think being an actor is a lot about like telling stories, but with your entire body and your entire being. Like when you're an actor, you like living that character for like a month or so or more, and you know we learn storytelling right in college, in at work, as in life. Like we share stories every day as a human being, but like being an actor is like how can you live and share the emotions of that character. Like doing that on like an entire being, kind of that kind of involvement is really difficult actually. Um, so I think I had to learn how to just be really vulnerable and not stop caring about being right, but just being vulnerable enough to just live a character
Hmm.
and connect with the audience, connect with my partner. I think acting is all about connecting with your partner
Hmm.
and making them look good and just being with that moment with them 100%. So the connection piece is really important in acting, what I've learned, because it's all about connecting your partner, your acting
Beautiful.
at that moment.
I want to ask you about Vietnam. I feel like me and my friends, my bubble, we don't know anything about Vietnam. We don't know about Vietnamese people or culture or even Asian culture besides having visited once or twice.
Yeah.
Give me
Mm,
a breakdown of what do I need to know? What do American millennials need to know about Asia to be up to date with
mm,
what's going on in the world?
mm. Well, there's a lot of economic growth happening in Asia, a lot of foreign direct investment, like Samsung, like produced a lot of phones in Vietnam. Apple is moving a lot of its factories to Vietnam. IBM, Intel, a bunch of companies are moving here. So Vietnam is exploding economically. Um, so standard of living has gone up significantly in the past 5 to 10 years. And Vietnamese people are just super friendly and open. So you fit in right here, Benji, like just very friendly people. And they say it's the next Thailand, meaning just like in terms of tourism, has so much to see. Like there's Ha Long Bay, there's like the biggest cave in the world is here, and like this entire country is coastal and beaches. It's really beautiful and mountains and just really beautiful country. People know Vietnam as a country with like the war and things in the past, but it's a very forward-looking, positive country to be here right now, and so a lot of people are moving here. Um, so yeah, it's just super fun being back here after so long, like 16 years being away. I'm just like blown away by how much this country has changed, and yeah, I'll be here for the next couple of years, or at least being back and forth between here and the States. And um, Asia in general, just booming and super fun place.
How do
You
Asians
definitely
see
come visit.
America? How do
You
your friends see
de-
America?
we like so people call people like myself here like Viet Kill. People mean like overseas Vietnamese who are not being back in Vietnam. People really value people who have foreign backgrounds here. It's a lot of experiences to share. Um, yeah, like I think of the US as a country with like obviously like a lot of culture um, preferences, like culture influence. Like this really does a Netflix show called Bling Empire with a bunch of Asians in LA, and it's like also like blowing up here. And I have a friend, Kevin Glider, who's on the show. I'm just super excited to see him on the show. So yeah, it's definitely like a lot of Asian culture. I'm sorry, American culture in Asia.
Mhm.
But if you go visit here, people will love you, especially like you being Benji and just being so much energy, positive energy around you.
I appreciate that. You always make me feel good about myself, and
Yeah.
you're always positive. So let's talk about content. You're creating a lot of content I see on social media. What's the strategy behind that?
Mm. Watching that's something I would love to just talk to you more about, but I had this conversation with a friend of mine who he has a pretty well-known channel on in Vietnam called Dustin on the Go, and he's like essentially we're talking about how everyone now is a content creator. Like we have things on social media. It's so easy to like share what we are about and what we care about in the world. On TikTok is really big in Asia. I know like the US banned TikTok. I don't know. Is that still a thing? TikTok in the US?
No, we
Um,
still use it.
but it's really big in Asia. Oh,
Hmm.
okay, cool, good. But yeah, so being a content creator is about like sharing what you care about and what you truly are about. So I'm thinking about starting a podcast about community and connection soon. Obviously, like being in the movie industry would help with just being on a platform and more TV shows here. So yeah, what's your take on being a content creator? What does it mean for you? Why are you doing this?
Me? Why am I creating content?
Yeah.
It's a great question. I've been
Uh-huh.
thinking a lot about it. I created a podcast because I thought it would be fun to interview people. This is my 51st episode. So it's essentially recording 51 conversations with friends.
Wow.
And I'm learning now after 51 episodes that I need to have a strategy behind what I'm doing. And it has to be, but I don't want to be creating content just to create content as a top of funnel marketing strategy to help my bottom line. And like every episode has to do with
Mm,
money at the end of the day. I want it to be about adding value to the audience, to the listeners. So I need to choose a lane. It's going to be either
mm,
startups or real estate. I'm both lanes right now in my conversations, where my head's at, what I'm interested in. And can I be both real estate
mm,
and startups at the same time? As a lawyer,
mm,
entrepreneur, founder, developer, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to choose
mm,
one. And so we'll find out, because I
mm.
graduate from law school this May, and I'm gonna have to choose
Wow,
a path.
congratulations.
What do you
Huge.
think? What do you think I am? A real
I see,
estate
I see.
guy or a startup guy? I can be both.
Well, you haven't asked me any questions about any of those things, so yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about your startup. You have a company.
Okay.
Your LinkedIn says you're
Sure.
the founder of a company. Tell me about it. What's the
Yes.
company name?
Yeah. I mean,
What's your story?
I've been in this like entrepreneurship journey for 4 years now. It came after Tesla, so I left Tesla and joined a venture fund called Techstars.
Mhm.
So it's mentoring a lot of startups in there, and I'm still a mentor to Techstar and the Oxford Foundry, which is a venture fund and accelerator out of Oxford University, where I went to school. So mentoring companies in the UK, in the US, healthcare to e-commerce to AI, and more recently cryptocurrency. So getting really involved with entrepreneurship, and myself being an agency founder, marketing and community architecture. agency founder. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. And now, as a media professional, also thinking of my brand as a startup. So I think being entrepreneurship is a really fun journey, and there's just something about entrepreneurs that um, I myself, I'm one, I gravitate towards other entrepreneurs because I have this constant desire to learn new things and to do new things and to be surrounded by, I think, optimism and just adventure. And that's what I think entrepreneurship is all about. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. Surrounded by optimism and thinking of your brand as a startup itself. What is your brand? What do you want your brand to be, Henry?
Wow. Mm. My message is about connection and co-elevation. So how can we become better as a community? Staying committed to one another so that we can go higher together, right? And right now I'm doing this in Vietnam, so Vietnam is my destination for the next year or so. But I can imagine doing this on a more global scale. Yeah, so that's currently where it is. Yeah.
Who is your lawyer? Who set up your legal entity?
But this question is not related to the last one. But related to the startup team as a whole.
I think
Funny.
I think my questions have
I
nothing to do with one or the other. I need to figure my stuff out.
No, just I was just being facetious. I got I think Wisconsin. No, hold on. It was 4 years ago, so I forgot because I set up two companies actually, but the LLC was set up in Wyoming. Yes, it was. Yeah, Wyoming.
What
Yeah.
advice do you have
And
for
I got
someone who's going to do something similar to you? Share them the mistakes you made so they don't have to make it.
the mistakes. The biggest thing for me is just like to for me and also for a lot of entrepreneurs I work with is to live in actions and not in ideas. The reason is that as a startup or entrepreneur, we have a lot of luxury to just start doing things. And a lot of people, because of all the plans we have, or gotta be a big launch or gotta be this and that, like just living too many ideas is really hard to just test it out, like just start doing stuff. And then immediately for me, like I just start learning what's working, what's not working, it just course corrected really quickly versus just like living in the plan. So I think the biggest thing is just to start doing it and then immediately like what works, what doesn't. That's also the big industry we have as a startup, right? Is any startup is that we have the luxury of not having to go through red tape or processes at the big companies and the big guys, so we can innovate a lot faster.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about your ideal lead. Who's a potential customer for you, and what's their profile?
Well, so right now I am scaling a bit back on my agency work. I used to work with a lot of startups and I work with them on ambassador marketing and growth marketing, digital marketing. But right now I've been really busy with the digital media, being a media professional now. So I would say, yeah, I mean, I'm still mentoring a lot of startups. So yeah.
Got it. I remember visiting you at Techstars, and I pitched you one of
Yes.
my startup ideas, and we broke it down on the whiteboard, and we realized that I had a lot of
Yes,
work to do.
the drone idea.
Oh, the drone idea,
That I
yes.
thought at the time that was such a yeah, yeah. This was right to your military service in Afghanistan.
In Israel, Nextdoor.
Sorry, yeah, yes, yeah. Mhm.
So
Wow, that
Henry,
was 4 years ago.
yeah, a long time ago. Henry, I have a startup idea, and
Yeah.
it's an online platform where companies hire freelancers to attend networking events on their behalf to generate
Mm,
leads. If this was your business, how would you go about marketing it?
mm. So who's your customers?
The
Who's your
customers are
clients?
people who have a product or service and they believe that their potential customers are at networking events. And
Mm,
if they could only get in front of them by meeting them face to face and
mm,
having genuine conversations, that is the best lead generation strategy. and they themselves don't need to be at the event. They can have someone like me or another charismatic and well-spoken freelancer on their behalf doing it.
Yeah. So it seems like this business, by the way, it seems like a really neat idea. Is a two-sided marketplace. You have people who are companies that would need some people to help represent them. And then on the other hand, you have people who are agents who are being at the events themselves, right?
Correct.
So yeah, so the way I think about this is I would approach this from both sides. So on the company side, I would reach out to the companies, essentially like go where the best channel would be maybe email marketing or go to events where they would be. Maybe like do more thought leadership about content marketing so I can get the word out there about my company. And then on the other hand, for the people who might be able to collaborate with me to help with events, the agents themselves, maybe hire more people, yeah, as contractors or W-2 employees, but essentially reach out to those people and share with them why it would be such a good place to work. They have flexibility. Maybe they can do that virtually now, a lot of virtual events, essentially explain the benefits and get them on board. So I think it's a two-sided marketplace kind of marketing problem. Yeah.
You're hired. All right. So Henry, before we wrap up, let me ask you a few questions. What is something about you that most people don't know?
Hmm. Wow. Dude, this is a deep question. Hmm. Obviously, there's a lot of things about a lot of people that we don't know about, right?
Right.
Just trying to pick one that I want to share right now with you and the audience. Can I like what is one thing about you that a lot of people don't know that you want to share? I'm curious, like how would
Flip
you
it
answer the
back.
question?
Um, I think I am extremely motivated and ambitious, and most
Mm,
people don't know that. I think that I'm kind-hearted in a way that most people don't know, and I think I'm very
mm.
distracted. I have ADD. I have ADD with my career
Wow.
goals, and that's something that I think people do know. I'm like very. I don't know. It's very hard for me to
Mm,
say like I'm going to be a lawyer and just commit to it
mm,
because
mhm,
I am an entrepreneur like you. And I love ideas. I love action. I love exciting things, and it's hard to just pigeonhole yourself as like I'm a lawyer or I'm a salesman, and it's just so stunting of your growth. So I think that's my biggest flaw. That's my biggest problem is not being able to choose a path and stick with it. Or it's my greatest strength because maybe 10 years from now I'm gonna look back and say,
mhm,
"Oh, thank God I had so many different eggs in different baskets because now
mhm,
all of them are
mm,
growing." But we'll see. We'll find out. Give me 10
mm,
years.
Amazing. Well, actually, I can identify with that myself as well. I would say like one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that I'm actually like um, very introverted, even though I'm like super extroverted. So like for my work, right, I have to be very extroverted, to move people on stage, to like be funny on stage, connect people, and I host a lot of events myself. But I actually need a lot of time alone. So in the morning, I do a long meditation. Like, I get into like this journaling habit in the morning and evening. So I need a lot of time to like recharge my energy. And I
Hmm.
think it's important to have that balance for myself is to like be with people, but also need a lot of time alone. Like
Hmm.
I once like went to the mountains by myself for a week just to like recharge my energy and just check in with Henry. Like, what does Henry need right now? Where is he at?
Hmm.
So I think that's something a lot of people don't know about me. Like they look at me like being so like, oh yeah, let's just do this, right?
Uh-huh.
They think that I'm such an extrovert, but I am. But also like I need a lot of time alone, and I think that's healthy for myself. Yeah.
Hmm. Beautiful. All right, last question, Henry. If there was one thing you could
Yeah.
do to improve the world and make this
Ooh,
world a better place,
whoa.
what would you do and why?
Ooh, I like that. Hmm. What would I do? I would. So to go back to the idea of oneness that we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, I would, if I had a magic wand, I would wish that everyone, myself included, just let go of judgment and just be more open to deep connection, and so we can go higher together as a whole. Um, so yeah, I wish for all of us to just always feel connected, and yeah, because we are one. That's my wish for the world.
Beautiful. I'm all about it. Where can people find you, Henry, on social media or the movie theaters? Where can people learn about you more?
Yeah, it's my Instagram is Henry Bao __. Henry Bao on Facebook, Henry Bao everywhere. Yeah, love to stay connected, and just so good to see you again, brother.
You too, Henry. I have no doubt you're going to be a super famous celebrity in Asia. I picture you on the cover of magazines. I'm excited to see where you go. It's always been fun staying in touch with you. Thanks for hopping on the show, and I'll let you know when it goes live. I appreciate it, Henry.
Absolutely. All right. Take care and best wishes. Really good to
Thank
see you again.
you too,
Yeah.
Henry. Fun times. Bye.
Bye, brother.